I happened to catch on YouTube one of those classic moments of inspiration from a high school or football coach telling people, you can do it. Success is made by inches and clawing and you've got to believe and if you the only way you're going to lose is if you quit and all this stuff. We're just like, yeah, I think that's correct. Kind of makes sense. And I was thinking to myself, would I really tell young people that today if I were really telling them the truth? I mean, what I tell them is say, yes. I mean, I think I would. Look, if you quit, you're not going to succeed. But can you do anything? No. Can you do anything you put your mind to? No. Is there a meritocracy? No. Sometimes, not always. The best advice you can possibly give people is to accept failure when it is inevitable and to understand that not everything is the way it should be. Now, that's not exactly motivational, but it's true. And I'm going to explain. But first, a word from our sponsor. Noble Gold Investments is pleased to let you know that gold is the best investment class for 2022. Through all our record-breaking inflation rate, crashing market, crypto scams, there is one asset that held its own: gold. According to longtermtrends.net, gold has actually outperformed the S&P 500, Dow, and Bitcoin for 2022. Had you invested in the S&P 500 a year ago, you would be down more than 20%. If you invested in Bitcoin a year ago, you'd be down more than 65%. And if you invested in the Dow a year ago, you would be down almost 10%. Yes, gold has outperformed them all in 2022, and silver is not far behind. Yes, while the world was busy hailing other assets as the real hedge, gold and silver are the only assets that would have protected your wealth. So join the thousands of others by opening a gold IRA or silver IRA with Noble Gold Investments. Get in before the end of this month and you'll bag a free 1/4 ounce American Gold Eagle coin with every qualified IRA of $50,000 or more. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold Investments. And there are thousands of 5-star reviews. And remember, there's always a risk of investment, and there's no guarantee of any kind. I love when people have told me throughout life, you can do whatever you want if you put your mind to it. That's not true. That's not even remotely true. Not even close to being true. Not even, I mean, you cannot, I cannot be a center for the New York Knickerbockers. And the reason for it is height restrictions, talent, ability, no experience. But given all those things, I cannot. Man may not be able to break certain records. We might not be able to run 60 miles an hour. Now you can say to yourself, well, that doesn't count. Those are just limitations. But there are limitations. And it's critical to understand them. It's important to tell people that when you do something, make sure you do it based upon the reasonable belief, the reasonable expectation of success, based upon a system of competition that is, well, understandable. Is there a meritocracy? No, because I can't even understand that. Look, we can talk about things like sports. Sports are wonderful because sports gives you exactly numbers. You ran this fast, you scored these many points, and I mean, you can have variations with it because, the referees might be, wrong or inept, and that could affect certain things. But for the most part, sports is pretty much points and time limits, and you ran out of time and all this sort of stuff. And that happens, okay? Life's not like that. there's this subjective thing that most of us have to go through. There's this subjective thing. There's this. I was listening or watching a movie about somebody trying to court somebody, This was the days, I guess, when we had movies like that where somebody tried to catch the fancy of a young lady, and is there anything you can do about that? No, this is completely out of your realm of reference. I mean, to an extent, you can avoid doing something, but untoward. But it's up to somebody just liking you. Were the Beatles the greatest musical band of all time? I don't know. How do you even measure that? I don't know. Were there better bands at the time? Probably. Why aren't they the Beatles? I don't know. Yeah, but didn't they try hard? Didn't they follow all of the rules? Yes, they did. Well, shouldn't they have been awarded Beatle status? Well, maybe in the perfect world, but they took your advice. They practiced. They did everything right. I know. I don't know why. I don't know. Kids have to understand this. Because it's very unfair to tell people you can overcome everything if you work hard. That's not true. To accept life is to accept limitations. That's not to be a defeatist. You can do tremendous changes, tremendous things. You can do so much. You can do so much. If you put your mind to it, if you try, if you do a lot of things. But the idea that everything is subject to success and victory is wrong. It's not fair to do that. It's unfair to give people the impression that everything is there for you. Now, I know that what I just said would never be acceptable in a commencement exercise, in a locker room speech. No. And I understand that, because you almost need to create almost this pathological frenzy. That's a part of this. We're gonna go. Okay, I understand. Kind of like the berserker mentality. But reality is a very, very unfair thing. And it's a very, very tough thing for people to grasp in terms of for lack of a better word, to grasp in terms of the reality of it. I understand that perception is a wonderful thing. And my answer to everybody is, it is balance. It is balance. You are constantly on that. Have you seen that little balance board at gyms where you stand on it and you try to do arm curls and maintain? They always say it's about the core. You got to build your core. Everybody was talking about the core. All of a sudden, overnight, everybody was talking about the core. But there was this balance. And that's life. Don't go to this side too much. Don't be too optimistic. Don't be too pessimistic. Just kind of just balance it. Balance it. And there also is something that is the most important to tell people, but you can't. And that is create your own reality. What do I mean by that? One of the abilities that successful people have is this thing called get over it. Especially failure. Remember, success needs no encouragement, no instruction. How do I handle this? No, you'll do just fine. But failure, dejection, loss, these are the things which are so critical. And these are things because, unfortunately, there's more of that than the other one, which is true by definition. And one of the tricks is to be able to create your own reality, to be able to say, you know what, this doesn't even matter. This isn't that important. This will come and go. This is no big deal. So what? Time to move on. So what? Big deal. It happened. Didn't really matter to me that much in the first place. What was I thinking? So what? Come to think of it, I didn't really want that in the first place. Is that delusion? Is it? Might be. But it's very defense mechanistic. You will go farther, not farther, further in life by being able to adjust reality and reevaluate, reacquaint yourself with, quote, failure by looking at things differently. If something went wrong, you can either lament, cry, be dejected, or maybe convince yourself that it really wasn't that important in the first place. Is that delusional? I don't think so. Not if it gets you through the day. Not only that, it doesn't matter. It's already over. See, nobody will tell you this. Read these. There's so much in our world today where people are always giving you advice and do this, but nobody ever tells you advice, real advice. It's almost like, when you're bitten by something, they'll tell you, no, that other stuff, don't use the tourniquet, don't run around, don't do this. That can actually increase the poison or whatever it is. Sometimes old wives' tales and mythology will actually hurt us more than the reality of things. And that's what this is about. Change your reality, change your perception. And again, not being delusional, not being wacky, but alter the way you appreciate things and alter the way you adapt or the amount of significance you give to failure. Think about what I'm saying very carefully. Think about it. It's the best advice anybody's ever given you in quite a long time. Now, if you'd like, I would appreciate you liking this video, subscribing to the channel, hitting that little bell, and I want to see your comments. I want to see, what do you think? Does this make sense to you? Have I opened up a new level of consciousness, a new appreciation, a new level of awareness? Or am I all wet, as they say? So comment as you see fit.